Hey guys, we are going to paint this really cute gnome painting today in watercolors. I've mounted it on a little Christmas card with some scrapbook paper and some brown cardstock. So you guys can do the same thing if you want to, but if you don't have those supplies, that's fine. We're just going to do our painting this time on a small 4x6. So that smaller piece of paper that you guys have in your folders from your art kits that I sent home for you, that's what you're going to want to work on. So please make sure that you've grabbed that smaller piece of watercolor paper. And if you have masking tape, then that's great. If not, then this project is not going to be super crazy watercolored. So it's not going to be the end of the world if you guys don't have masking tape. But it is always good to tape your watercolor paper down. So if you remember our tips and tricks video series that we watched in module, I believe it was 7, you guys understand it's important to tape down your watercolor paper so that as your watercolor paper dries or has water applied to it, it doesn't ripple and get all curly and stuff. So this is your first step all the time, is to tape down your watercolor paper. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through how to draw these gnomes. And I know that it's a little intimidating, but I'm going to walk you through how to do this super easy, step by step. So in the middle of our paper, this is where our first gnome is going to be, and I'm going to go just slightly up from the middle of my paper. And I'm going to draw a teeny tiny oval the size of a pea. Just a little oval the size of a pea. And then about 1 to 1.5 inches over to this direction, to the right. I'm going to draw another one. And then on the other side of that, I'm going to draw another one at the same distance apart. And your gnomes don't have to look like mine. These are all unique and special. So if you get your noses put in there, you're going to be able to go from here pretty easily. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the hats. I'm going to have a line curve out and down on either side of these ovals, just like this, kind of curving down. They're not going straight out. They're not curving down past the nose. So they kind of look like eyes, which is a little creepy. But we're going to make them look like gnomes here. So we're going to make this guy have a little bit of a different beard. They're all going to have different beards to help them stand out. So I'm going to start by putting a little line over here underneath this left oval, just a tiny little dash. And I'm going to do a little jaggy line. And I'm going to have that point out from the bottom, curving down towards the bottom of the paper on both sides, down from that hat. Okay, this middle one, you guys can pause the video if this is going too fast for you and get caught up. But for this other one, for the middle gnome, we're going to have a straight beard coming down on either side of this line that we drew for the hat. We're going to have little jaggy lines. And then I'm going to have them point down into the middle. And your lines don't have to look exactly like mine. They can be kind of different. That's fine. So now we see the distance we're getting here with these gnomes. I'm going to come back to this mustachy one. And just slightly in from the ends of the mustache, I'm going to draw a similar kind of beard, jaggy lined beard like we had over here, but maybe a little longer. Can be shorter. Totally up to you. You guys can customize these the way that you like. This guy's going to have a really long beard. It's going to go all the way down to his feet. So starting out from the bottom of this, like the end of this line here, I'm going to do a little jaggy line. I actually want that to have a little bit of space at the bottom so that we can write something cute about gnomes under there. Okay, so I have made my little jaggy beard here. Now to finish their bodies, I'm going to go out from, again, the bottom of, or the ends of each of the hats. Make a straight line down, just slightly below this middle guy's beard. He doesn't have to be very, very big. Remember, we're leaving space at the bottom and space at the top for now. And I drew my lines down, and then I curve it in and make a little line at the bottom. And then I'm going to do the same thing on both, but I'm going to let this guy's beard, like their little bodies are going to be at the same length. And you can see that you kind of want all of their little bodies to end at the same spot, and you want them to be about as wide as their hat brim. So let's work on these hats. This middle one is the easier one, so we're just going to do kind of like a wavy triangle. Doesn't have to be a perfect triangle. If you really want it to be perfect, you can have it perfect. And then on this side, on the left side, I'm going to start almost like we're going to do the exact same thing, but then I'm going to curve it over and then loop it down. See, I went past this mustache and then I took it to a point just out from the mustache, like that. To finish up this hat, I'm going to go to where we had originally ended that line for the bottom of his hat, and I am just going to do a little line up that curves in just slightly. Okay, and I'm going to put a little fluffy poof on the end of his hat. It's kind of like the beard, a little bit jaggy. Same thing is going to happen over here on the right, but in the opposite direction. You're going to loop it over and past this side of his beard, and then curve it down and out. And then at the brim of his hat, I'm going to bring it up and around and curve it slightly where it's bending over. I'm going to do another little puff. All right, so I'm going to let that sit for you guys to get caught up. We're going to end this video here, but that's how you set up your gnome picture. And I will get you guys set up for part 2 of this tutorial.